Lagos dust clung to everything. Bitu, 13 years old, felt it coat his skin, grit between his teeth. He shared a one-room shack with his mother and 3 brothers. The air, thick with exhaust fumes and the smell of frying akara, never quite cleared.
The weight of responsibility already pressed down on my thin shoulders. I loved my brothers fiercely. Emeka, the quiet one, Chukwudi, always smiling, and little Chijioke, still a baby.
Their father, a bus driver, had been their rock. Now only the dust remained. Life had been hard even before. 4 mouths to feed, school fees to pay, the constant worry about putting food on the table.
Your father, a man of quiet strength, always provided. He'd come home smelling of petrol and sweat, a tired smile on his face as he handed me his day's earnings.
Mama would greet him with a tired smile of her own, the worry lines around her eyes deepening with each passing day.
The day their world shattered began like any other. Lagos was a symphony of car horns, hawkers' calls and the rumble of generators.
Our father left for work on his rickety motorbike, a promise to bring back Puff Puff for Chijioke. He never came back.
A hit and run, they said. A drunk driver, a mangled motorbike, a pool of blood staining the red Lagos dust.
I didn't cry. Not then. I moved through the motions of mourning, my silence heavier than any wail.
Bitu, suddenly the man of the house, felt a knot of fear and anger tighten in his chest. The Puff Puff lay forgotten on the table, a cruel reminder of promises broken.
The days that followed were a blur of condolences, whispered prayers, and empty plates.
Hunger gnawed at their bellies. Mama, once a seamstress, now took in laundry, her back bent under the weight of other people's clothes. She worked tirelessly, her hands raw, her spirit broken, but it wasn't enough.
I saw it in her eyes, the shame and despair that came with not being able to feed us. I started doing odd jobs, hawking water in traffic, helping at the local market, anything to bring a few naira home.
School became a luxury we could no longer afford. We were too young to understand, still crying from hunger.
Bitu, his teenage years stolen by responsibility, felt anger burn like acid in his gut. Why them? Why this unending cycle of poverty and pain?
One day I saw him, Obinna, a boy from our street, now draped in gold chains, his pockets overflowing with cash. Drugs, someone whispered. Obinna was our way out.
The decision once made sat heavy in Bitu's heart. He knew the risks, the dangers that lurked in the shadows of Lagos. But he also saw the desperation in his mother's eyes, the gnawing hunger in his brothers' bellies. This was his chance to be their father, their protector.
I have to do this for them.
Obinna, with a sly smile and promises of easy money, took Bitu under his wing. The first time Bitu sold a wrap, his hands trembled. Guilt warred with a strange sense of power. He was bringing money home, silencing the rumble in their stomachs.
Bitu, where did you get this money?
Mama, her eyes red-rimmed, didn't ask where the money came from. She didn't want to know. Bitu, with each transaction, sank deeper into the underworld. He learned the language of the streets, the art of deception, the brutal efficiency of violence. Bitu's rise in the underworld was swift and ruthless. He became known as the King of the Streets, a title that brought both respect and fear.
This is my domain now. Nobody messes with me.
He commanded a small army of boys, all looking up to him as their leader, but with power came enemies, and Bitu was always looking over his shoulder. The streets of Lagos were painted with red dust and red blood. Bitu's reign was challenged, and the police were closing in.
Bitu, you're surrounded. There's no way out.
I won't go down without a fight.
The confrontation was inevitable. Bitu, cornered and desperate, made his last stand. Shots rang out, and in the chaos, Bitu fell. The shack was eerily silent. The news of Bitu's death had reached his family.
My son. My poor boy.
Why did it have to end like this?
He did it for us. He wanted to protect us.
The weight of Bitu's choices hung heavy in the air. The family, once bound by love and hope, now shared a silent grief that words could not mend.